Here we have the current stock market update for Super Micro Computer Incorporated, stock ticker SMCI. Before we begin with today's chart analysis, if you find these educational materials to be helpful in your own trading, please remember to click the like and subscribe buttons and leave your thoughts in the comment section below so that other traders will be able to find this information more easily on the platform. So here we have the hourly price chart. And once again, we can see that shares of SMCI are starting to trade under pressure. We did see some news releases earlier this morning, which suggested that NVIDIA is going to be the subject of a Department of Justice, DOJ probe, antitrust probe. And the suggestion here is that these are the types of events that could weigh on the technology space as a whole going forward. The real question here is whether or not any of this information was leaked prematurely, whether or not some sections of the market actually knew about this yesterday. Because if that is the case, that would go pretty far to explain why NVIDIA met the selling pressure that it did in yesterday's trading session. The movements were fairly extreme and they were sort of unrelentless. So, there are legitimate questions here about who actually knew this information beforehand. The Department of Justice is an incredibly big department and a large organization. It seems a bit difficult for me to believe that this information didn't leak in any way, that there weren't some sections of the market that knew this information in advance and were trading NVIDIA from the short side, pushing share prices lower. So this is a bit of a gift for anybody that is looking at SMCI from the short side. You are getting an opportunity here to, possibly take some gains here on some short positions. But of course, for anybody that's long this stock, the opposite is true, and this is putting additional pressure on share prices. This is sort of kicking the stock when it was down. As we know, there was the major report from Hindenburg, which put a lot of pressure on this stock, a lot of selling pressure. And now we have this additional news about NVIDIA that is really going to make it difficult for the technology sectors to sort of gain traction here near term. So what we're looking at the moment with SMCI is currently the price low at 395.16 does remain intact so far. But what we're starting to see here is a series of lower highs. The prior price high came in at 475.42, and now since then, we were forming a bit of an ascending triangle pattern, but that has now been broken to the downside with these latest share price movements. What we're looking at here is the hourly price chart. So first we have the first three candles of the trading day here, and this movement here did break through that prior ascending triangle formation. So previously, before this news was made public, the bias was starting to turn positive here for this stock. But now that we've broken through these levels, we've also broken through prior support zones, which came in at 419.74. So the bias here does now reverse back to the downside. And the way things currently stand, we're probably in store now for a retest of 395. So, it's incredible how some news stories can really change the picture here. We sort of thought that the Hindenburg report might be in the rearview mirror. We were seeing news releases coming out from Supermicro suggesting that there weren't going to be any major revisions to the company's accounting figures and things like that. These allegations of misrepresentation and manipulation may have been overblown. There was a report from Morgan Stanley which said that there wasn't much verification for Hindenburg. There were for the details in the Hindenburg report. So, this does sort of change the picture a bit here because we don't know how long this antitrust discussion with NVIDIA will continue. And we don't know how far this is going to reach into the company. So, as things currently stand, this really does throw a major wrench in the works for the technology sector. And I do recommend that people take a look at my video on NVIDIA to take a look at the price levels there, because that stock has really collapsed. We've seen lows right around 104. Where the previous level of resistance there was 130. So we're seeing significant price movements there to the downside. And it does, it's hard. It would be hard for SMCI to sort of avoid that contagion, sort of avoid the selling pressure that is currently being directed at that stock. So currently, we are looking at, a break of support here, a break to the downside when we're looking at this ascending triangle pattern. And then in addition to that, we do have a momentum condition that is starting to develop in the bearish direction. So I'll sort of point to that down here. This would be the relative strength index that we're looking at here on the bottom of the price chart. Sorry, let's get a bit of a better arrow here. So on the bottom of this price chart, we can see the relative strength index is starting to trend in the negative direction. And this comes after share prices moved into heavily oversold territory, right around the 7.5 level, which would be considered to be extremely oversold, which would be considered to be extremely oversold. So as things currently stand, the relative strength index has moved back below its own exponential moving average. This is the purple line crossing below the yellow line, and the share price itself is not yet oversold. So if recent memory tells us anything, it would be that share prices can move heavily into oversold territory. So what this would suggest here is that there is a lot of room here for the stock price to extend to the downside. For these reasons, I don't think that we can rule out a retest of this 395 level. Even if we do see Supermicrocomputer continue to, work on damage control and work on possibly a PR campaign to restore the company's reputation a bit, restore some faith in shareholders, and possibly inspire some people to start to buy into the stock at these lows. So there are some real questions here going forward, and they're not even necessarily Supermicro specific. Some of these stories obviously are Supermicro specific, but the question really here going forward, at least in the near term, is going to be whether or not the technology sector is able to gain any traction in light of this new DOJ development related to NVIDIA. As things currently stand, the price level that I would be watching to the top side comes in right just under 465. We did see a September 3rd high coming in at 464.12. So this would be the main level of resistance that I would currently be watching. But in order to get to that point, we would also have to break above the 20-hour exponential moving average, which is this declining yellow line here. So there is a fair bit of resistance here, and we're not exactly trading at support just yet. Near-term lows come in at 408.50, so we might need to see a drift back below the $400 mark in order for the stock to, gain some support and start to, find some fuel for another movement to the top side. So overall, this does definitely create some uncertainty for the broader picture, and this does suggest that the worst of the price movements for Supermicro might not yet be in the rearview mirror. So here's the current market update for Supermicrocomputer, stock ticker SMCI. Our high value trading strategies membership is currently available for a limited time for only $9.99 per month. These high conviction investment strategies are characterized by superior risk to reward metrics that target massive market beating returns over time. Join now to outperform the market. Lock in this special introductory rate of just $9.99 per month for the entire lifetime of your membership and start trading stocks with the pros.